What's up with it, YouTube? It's your boy Richie Ray 04, man, and I'm coming here with a video about Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins 2, the rematch that took 17 years to happen again. Now, I'm just going to talk about what I think these two fighters need to do to be successful in winning this fight. And first of all, I would just like to say, for these two fighters, you got two legends going at it, but on both sides, I don't want to hear any excuses on why somebody lost or why the reason why that person won and all this other bull crap that everybody else always have excuses for, and blah 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 blah. Because for the simple fact, these guys have been world champions and they've been to the top. You got one of them that's sitting at the top right now. And, they're both about the same age. I mean, skills have diminished for both of them. They're not the same fighters they were back in the 90s, early 2000s. That's just not, it's just not there, you know what I'm saying? So, we're in 2010, man. You know what I'm saying? So, alright, let's get into the fight. We got Roy Jones Jr., Superman, or used to be Superman. Dude went from junior middleweight all the way up to heavyweight, won a title. The only one he didn't get was cruiserweight, and when he tried, won around TKO. But lots of people for this fighter going off, basing that performance on Roy being old or Roy just not having it no more, and people looking at this fight like, why are they fighting right now? Well, basically they're fighting because Hopkins wants his revenge. That's what it's about. But anyway, you got Roy Jones Jr. Now, what I gotta say about what Roy has to do for this fight is keep the fight long range to mid range. Because for the simple fact, you don't want Hopkins close to you, because he's gonna get in this one punch. He's gonna bang you with his body, and he's gonna do most of his work trying to rough you up on the inside. Now, if Roy stays on the outside, Roy can use that superior hand speed that he still has. He still has the hand speed, but the legs and lateral movement are not there like they used to be. Prime example of this, you go back and look at the James Toney fight, where he just circled and moved around James Toney the whole time. Ended up becoming the I forgot what belt it was, but he became the super middleweight champion and took James Toney's O. But anyway, Roy needs to keep it at mid range to long range, and he needs, since he's not gonna have that superior lateral movement and footwork like he used to have, what he needs to do is when they engage, Roy needs to come in there and get the better of the exchanges. He needs to pap, 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 do what he needs to do, roll out, get out of there, step back at an angle so he doesn't get caught with anything. That's what I think he needs to do. And he needs to reset his defense. Now, if he's back there, at long range, he can sit back, he can keep the one hand up, he can keep the left hand down, and boom, hit you with the hook. He can do that. Now, he can catch the jabs at mid range, which is cool, because I don't think that Hopkins is faster than Roy when it comes to his hands. Now, you can sneak in one on you, but you gotta be careful of that. But if Roy gets on the ropes, he doesn't need to sit in that peekaboo stance and do this all day. What he needs to do, he needs to chuck that chin down. He needs to look out of his eyebrows just about and roll and rock. He needs to move side to side, and then when he can get up out of there, he needs to go. Or if he sees that Hop is open, he needs to hit him with something and then go. I wouldn't throw no more than probably 2 shots off the ropes if I was Roy, because he's gonna need all the energy he need. He can he can keep for this fight. Roy needs to go to the body. He needs to go to the body, try to wear down Bernard Hopkins, and try to take that energy from him. And what else? He needs to make sure that he doesn't he needs to make sure he doesn't lay on the ropes. He doesn't need to lay on the ropes, period. He touched those ropes, he needs to go. He doesn't need to try to go for the knockout, but Roy doesn't need to play with Bernard. If he feels that he can get Bernard out of there, he hurts Bernard, he needs to go ahead in the fight. Bump all the fans and all I'm trying to put on the show. You need to get down to business, get it over with if you can, because just like Joe Calzaghe, you could have probably stopped him if you repressed the issue, but you didn't. So, people like that will come back on you, especially people that don't want to lose to you. Now, for Bernard Hopkins, Bernard needs to keep the fight close. He needs to keep the fight close. He needs to come in with that straight right on Roy, bump him, get him on the ropes, rough him up, make sure that Roy uses those legs, because, if Roy's still and he can't move, he's a sitting duck, then you can pile up points on him because of their defense. He just leans back and he rocks like this, leaving a little bit of that torso wide open. So, you can score points right there. And, Bernard needs to make sure that Roy can use that hand speed on him, because if Roy starts getting confidence and getting those combinations off. Now, I don't think that Roy's going to get off a 7 left hook combination like he did against Jeff Lacey. That was crazy. But I do believe that Roy may try to go for something, he might try to come up with something, but Bernard has to be wary of that. Now, the thing about Bernard that I'm worried about is that, Bernard might come out a little bit too aggressive, because 17 years built up waiting on a guy, all the talking 17 years, if you had a kid back then, that probably they almost grown right now, getting ready to go off to college next year, or probably about to be a senior in high school, but that's a long time, and you waiting that long to get at somebody again. You might go in there, Hop might go in there and be like, oh yes, I'm ready. It's about to go down now. I'm about to go ahead and knock him out the first round. He might and I know that he's smarter than that, but for a brief moment he can just snap and just try to go at it, and that's what he needs to stay away from that. I hope that both of these, I know that B-Hop is going to be prepared. I hope that Roy's training hard, because the training video that he has on there, and showed him, his rhythm was off a little bit. He was kind of jumping on one leg, and the hand speed is still there, but the rhythm is off. So I think, hopefully, that in the next week he can go ahead and correct that, and he'll be in superb shape, because he's gonna need every weapon and every little ounce of energy that he can muster, because I think that Hop's gonna make this into a fight. Hop already said either I'm gonna knock him out, or he's gonna have to fight me off of him. So Hop's not playing, because legacy is up for grabs right now. Hop wins, and they'll say, yeah, you know what, you did get better than you were better than Roy, and that's why Roy avoided you, and the Danny Green fight, hey, that's what it is. But if Hop loses and Roy wins, then people are going to look at Hop and like, oh well, he had 20 title defenses, but couldn't beat Roy. That's hard to swallow. I did all this, but I couldn't beat the man that I wanted to beat. And Roy, he'll get a big fight with somebody else, and he'll be in a spotlight again, and that rejuvenates his career, and that'll make everybody erase the memory of that Danny Green fight. And Roy did say that he's going to fight Danny Green again after he fights Bernard Hopkins. But if Roy gets beat by KO, then I don't think that'll happen. But if it's a close fight and Roy loses, I think that Roy and Hop might do it again, and Roy might go and fight Danny Green again for the rematch. But those are my opinions. Those are my thoughts. Hit me up. And, yeah, I just want to let y'all boys know, it's Richard Ray 04. It's my thoughts and opinions. And for those in San Antonio, I am the true San Antonio Golden Gloves welterweight champion. Look on the site. It's not that other dude. I got the jacket and I got the trophy to prove it. 2 times. Okay? Alright then. Signing off 2010, April 3rd. It goes down. Roy Jones versus Bernard Hopkins, part 2. Deuces.